You're looking at the end of an era, and the start of something entirely new. For years, the world has whispered about it. We've seen the patents. We've watched Samsung, Google, and OnePlus release generation after generation of folding phones while Apple sat on the sidelines in silence. People said they were late. They said Apple was stuck. But the silence is finally breaking. This isn't just another foldable phone. We are about to witness the most radical reinvention of the iPhone since Steve Jobs stepped onto that stage in 2007. This device is breaking every rule Apple has set for itself over the last decade. The buttons are moving. The battery is massive. The design is a complete rethink of what a smartphone even is. If you've been holding on to your old iPhone waiting for the big one, you need to pay attention. The leaks we have right now paint a picture of a device that is controversial, powerful, and undeniably different. This is the full breakdown of the iPhone Fold, and trust me, it is nothing like you expected. Let's dive straight into the most shocking design change first. This one detail tells us everything about how this phone is built. For years, every modern iPhone has followed a standard layout. You have the volume buttons on the left and the power button on the right. It is muscle memory for hundreds of millions of people. But the iPhone Fold is throwing that out the window. According to the latest leaks from reliable sources, the volume buttons are moving. They are leaving the left side entirely. Instead, they're heading to the top edge of the right side. If you've used an iPad mini 7, you know exactly what this looks like. But on an iPhone, this is unheard of. You might wonder why Apple would mess with over a decade of user habit. It isn't just for looks. It is a necessity born from a radical internal redesign. To understand this change, you have to look at the engineering nightmare of building a foldable phone. In a standard phone, you have one solid slab. You can run cables and batteries wherever you want. But a foldable is two halves connected by a moving hinge. That hinge is a no-fly zone for fragile ribbon cables. You cannot just run massive bundles of wires back and forth across a moving part without risking durability. So, Apple has made a distinct choice. They are putting the main logic board, which is the brain of the phone, entirely on the right side of the device. If the brain is on the right, you want your buttons on the right too. Running a cable all the way to the left side just for volume buttons would mean crossing that dangerous hinge area. Apple wants to avoid that complexity at all costs. The result is a layout we have never seen before. The volume buttons are at the top right. Below them you have the power button, and further down you have the new camera control button. This means the left side of the iPhone Fold is going to be completely smooth. No buttons, no switches, nothing. It is a seamless slab of metal and glass. This is a first for any iPhone in history. It gives the device a cleaner, more minimalist look, but it also hints at something much more important happening under the hood. By stripping the left side of all logic boards, Apple has freed up that entire half of the phone for one specific thing: power. The entire left half of the device is essentially a dedicated fuel tank. This brings us to the most exciting leak of all, which is the battery life. Foldable phones have historically had terrible battery life. It makes sense because you have a massive internal screen that eats power, but you have less room for a battery because of the hinge. Samsung and Google have both struggled with this, but Apple is apparently solving it with brute force. Reports suggest the iPhone Fold could feature a massive 5,500 mAh battery. To put that into perspective, that is bigger than the battery in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It is significantly larger than the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and it absolutely destroys the Galaxy Z Fold 7. This is not just a small bump. This is Apple looking at the competition and deciding to win the battery war on day one. Apple is already the king of optimization. Their chips are efficient and their software is tuned perfectly. If you give Apple's engineers a 5,500 mAh battery to play with, we could be looking at a foldable that lasts 2 full days. This addresses the biggest fear people have about switching to a foldable. No one wants to spend $2,000 on a phone that dies before dinner. With this design, Apple is ensuring that the iPhone Fold is a productivity monster. Now that battery has a big job to do because it has to power 2 screens. The screens on this device are shaping up to be impressive. The internal display is rumored to be a massive 7.8 inches. That is basically a tablet in your pocket. It is dangerously close to the size of an iPad mini. This is the entire reason the device exists. Imagine editing photos, watching movies, or handling spreadsheets on a canvas that size and then just folding it up and sliding it into your jeans. The external cover display is said to be 5.5 inches. This suggests a form factor that is usable and compact, not cramped like some other brands. However, there is a trade-off for all this screen real estate. This is where the controversy kicks in. To make this design work and keep the device sleek, rumors indicate the iPhone Fold will skip Face ID. Yes, the facial recognition system that has defined the iPhone since the iPhone X might be gone. The sensors for Face ID take up a lot of space. On a foldable, every millimeter counts. Apple seems to be opting for a different route. Instead of a notch, we are looking at a simple hole punch camera for selfies. So how do you unlock it? Apple is reportedly bringing back Touch ID. It will be integrated directly into the power button on the side. For many people, this is actually an upgrade. There is a whole community of users who miss the speed of a fingerprint scanner. Being able to unlock your phone while it is still coming out of your pocket is a feature many have missed. It also solves the problem of unlocking your phone while it is laying flat on a table. While losing Face ID feels like a step backward, the return of Touch ID is a practical solution that fits the pro nature of this device. Let's look at the back of the phone. The camera bump is changing. We are moving away from the square design we've had for years. The iPhone Fold is expected to feature a horizontal plateau. This is a raised strip that stretches across the top of the back panel. It houses two main cameras, the flash and a microphone. Leaks suggest this camera plateau will always be black, regardless of the color of the phone. It creates a visor-like look that is very futuristic. You might be thinking only two cameras is a letdown for a premium price. But space inside a foldable is a war zone. Fitting a massive zoom lens inside a folding device is incredibly difficult without making it bulky. Apple is prioritizing a thin profile and a high-quality main sensor. They are betting that their image processing will be enough to satisfy most users. Under the hood, this thing is a beast. A foldable phone is a multitasking device. You need a chip that can handle running multiple apps at once. The iPhone Fold is rumored to be powered by the A20 Pro chipset. More importantly, it is paired with 12 GB of RAM. That is a flagship level specification. It ensures the phone stays fast for years. Apple knows that if they release a foldable that lags, critics will tear them apart. This extra RAM is crucial for keeping apps open in the background and making the transition between screens feel instant. The internal structure is described as rationally elegant. This means Apple hasn't just shoved old parts into a new case. They have re-architected the phone from the ground up to maximize space and durability. Finally, we have to talk about the price. You know this isn't going to be cheap. Current estimates put the iPhone Fold somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. That makes it the most expensive iPhone ever made. It is pushing into laptop territory. So who is this for? It is for the enthusiast and the executive who wants to replace their iPad and phone with one device. It is a status symbol and a glimpse into the future. Apple is done playing it safe. Moving buttons, removing Face ID, and packing in a massive battery are all risks. But they are necessary. The smartphone market has become stagnant. The iPhone Fold is the first time in a long time that the iPhone will feel genuinely new. It might be late to the party, but Apple is arriving with the best gift. In my opinion, this is exactly what the industry needs. We need Apple to enter this space to push the software forward. When Apple enters a category, developers pay attention. We will finally see apps that are truly optimized for folding screens. The price is painful, but the innovation is undeniable. If the battery life claims are true, this device solves the biggest headache of the foldable form factor. The future is folding, and we are just getting started. If you liked the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching.